morning, everybody. It's your boy D Mac. If you are in the Killeen, Texas, and surrounding areas this morning, I go ahead and advise you to bundle up. Make sure your pipes are covered up because we're getting a lot of sleet and ice mix. I mean, sleet and rain mix this morning. So be careful if you have to get out on the road and travel. And I'll be praying for your safety to and from your destinations. But this morning, I wanted to attack a subject that is very, very prevalent, especially for this month that we're in. And this month has always been observed as Black History Month, the shortest month of the year, but that's neither here nor there. But I wanted to discuss something because now that critical race theory is being basically outlawed, how then can you turn around and say that we can observe Black History Month in all good conscience? Because Black History Month is basically an overall summary of critical race theory. We Throughout the whole month of Black History Month, we're constantly shining the light on Black people who never got the credit for the things that they've done for this country. We're always having things revealed to us as far as inventions and industries that was created by our people but stolen by another people that they've created generational wealth off of. This is basically what Black History Month involves and covers. So how then can you ban critical race theory for the other 11 months of the year, but for the shortest month of the year, we get an opportunity to talk about it? That's some bull crap, and you know it. Anybody who has a brain to think for themselves know that this is a bunch of bull crap. I personally don't celebrate pagan holidays, and so I personally don't celebrate Black History Month because it's a farce. And it's just another thing that they came up with so that they could capitalize off of us. Because Black History Month, we go and get all of this Black history stuff, and we go and buy all of these things. Who are we buying it from? We're not buying it from Black people. We buying it from Walmart. We're buying it from Hobby Lobby. We're buying it from Target. And none of that is Black owned. And all of that capitalism, all of that capitalist sentiment is dollars going right back to them and not circulating in our Black neighborhoods. So the whole entire month of February is bullcrap to me. And I don't care who has an opinion on that. This is my opinion, and I stand 10 toes on my opinion based on this right here. Critical race theory is an intellectual movement and framework of legal analysis according to which, number one, race is culturally invented category used to oppress people of color, and two, a systemic plot by the U.S. to keep whites above every ethnic group residing in America, and the ethnically unjust social order of the United States. Is that not what we talk about the whole month of February? Is that not the culmination of everything within this month that we call Black History Month? That's critical race theory. So then basically they're saying, we don't care about your history. We prefer that you keep your history to yourself. Why? Because it holds them accountable for their actions. It holds them accountable for everything that they have right now and how they got that off the backs of our people, and they're still capitalizing on it today. And this is what keeps their white guilt intact. And they're tired of that white guilt, and they want to get rid of it, but they don't want to do it the right way. They just want to sweep it under the rug and make it disappear instead of making it right. This is the whole reason behind the banning of critical race theory, because they don't ever want to admit that they are at fault, because admitting that they're at fault means that the storyline of reparations becomes very, very legitimate. This is the whole reason for getting rid of critical race theory. They'll tell you whatever bullcrap line they want to, but this is that crease down the seam that they don't want to talk about. Acknowledgement of what they did to us, acknowledgement of their benefits off of our inventions, off of our labor, will put them in a place of responsibility, and they do not want to pay us for what they've done to us systemically throughout this whole 400 years of them bringing us here. So we have to look at the five tenets of what critical race theory is to understand specifically what we're going to be hearing this month of February. So, number one is counter storytelling. This means that we're countering his story, not history, but his story, because we know that the story of a land is created by the person who conquered that land. The conqueror is always going to rewrite the history of that land to favor them. So that's first and foremost in critical race theory is we tell the counter story to the lying conqueror of this land. Second is permanence of racism. This describes the system of racism that has been developed over this whole entire time of these 400 years to keep them in a perpetual system of dominance over everybody else. That's that systemic part that we're always talking about, that people claim that they don't see, or they have so much time trying to figure out. But this is always covered every year in February. So the permanence of racism, or the systemic racism that perpetuates their wealth off of the backs of our people. And then your third tenet is going to be whiteness as a property. And I don't mean a property as a possession. I mean whiteness as a form of privilege, white privilege. This is another thing that they want to get away from and they want to erase, because white privilege produces white guilt. And I understand that. A lot of people had nothing to do with what their ancestors did, and we do not hold you accountable for that. And we're not sitting around plotting on white people saying, yeah, your great 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 granddaddy did this to me. We're not doing that. That's not where black people's minds are. But you have those white nationalists who are so afraid that we want revenge that they're trying to do preemptive attacks. Do you see where the you have these what is it, black churches, or black yeah, it's black churches that have been threatened, no, I'm sorry, it's not black churches, it's HBCUs, about 5 or 6 of them across the country. So this means that this is a coordinated effort from different states by a certain organization to try to put fear in black schools, historical black universities. And so there are bomb threats called in to these historical black universities trying to scare black people. And I feel like this is a retaliation from these militia groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. And this is a retaliation for what's happening to them by their own people. But because they can't fight against their own people for fear of getting in more trouble than what they're already in, they do what they always do: take it out on the blacks and the brown people. So you're going to see an influx in black people being harassed by white people. You're going to see an influx in black people being murdered by cops again. You're going to see an influx in all of these things, because remember, these white supremacists are in every auxiliary in the United States. They're judges, they're police officers, they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're politicians. They're every facet of this country that makes this country what it is and is a pillar of this society. You have white nationalists who have gotten in there and they've gotten their position. This is the systemic racism. And that's why we always preach that we have to get our people into these positions so that they can counter these white nationalists who have been established in these positions from day one. That's the only way we're going to have an opportunity to fight this systemic racism that is absolutely true and absolutely relevant and prevalent in the United States of America. They just want to hide it. And I'm not going to bite my tongue to make somebody feel better about themselves. We gives a damn about your feelings right now. This is not about people's feelings. This is about getting the truth out, and this is about getting to a point to where we can start attacking some of these issues so that we can resolve these issues amongst ourselves without having looked into the outside group who originated in the first place to try to get rid of it. Okay? So if you are not that, and that's not in your heart, and that's not in your mind, then if this don't apply, let it fly. But if you're a person who operates in everything that I just pointed out and spoke about, then you're gonna feel some type of way, and I expect to get a harassment message from you or whatever. But like I said, that just lets me know that a hit dog hollers. So let me get back on topic. The fourth tenet is interest convergence. And this is where all of these interests culminate to create the agenda of the systemic racism plotted against people of color. Yeah, and I'll say people of color because you have the indigenous people, you have the Hispanic people, you have the Asians who built the railroad systems. All of these people of color who have been systemically oppressed within the United States. Because, like I said, the conqueror will never allow anyone to come up to their level or be higher them in the place that they conquered. And so the fifth and the last tenet of critical race theory is the critique of liberalism. Now, this is the area that bothers them a lot as well, because this shows that the Constitution is a contradiction. I call it the contradiction of the United States. It's not the U.S. Constitution. It's the U.S. contradiction, because while they're sitting there claiming liberty and freedom for all, they are systemically oppressing the people. And they're total hypocrites, and they don't want to be called out for what they've been. And they continue to do this. The Democrats more so than the Republicans, for the simple fact that the Republicans tell you face up, no, we don't we don't like black people, and we're going to continue in this racist mindset and this superiority mindset. At least Republicans will come out and tell you that. The Democrats will try to make you think that they're your friend and that they have your best interests at heart right until after they get your vote. And then they go right back to doing the same thing that the Republicans do concerning people of color in this country. So let's not act like critical race theory is not the truth. They're trying to hide the truth, and they're blatantly doing it in your face. And then they think they're doing you a favor, like they always do, by giving you the shortest month of the year to be able to discuss the thing that they're going to try to denounce and demonize and discredit for the other 11 months of the year. People, y'all better wake up, because they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. They're lying, they're manipulating, and they're using you. And because you're so stuck in tradition and you are not willing to let go of this tradition, you fall for it every time. So if you don't stand for something, if you don't stand for nothing, you're always going to fall for anything. And a lot of people are falling for anything because you are so stuck on these traditions that have been given to you by the other people. This is not our tradition. This is not even our culture. The culture that we call black culture here in the United States is a bunch of borrowed Western concepts. We don't know anything about Africa. We can go and study. We can talk to our African brothers and sisters and get information, but we never had anything to build an entire culture off of. Everything that the black culture in the United States is Western ideology and is borrowed. So when we talk about black culture, there's no such thing as black culture. Let's get to our roots, y'all. Let's understand the true meaning of what's going on in the United States with critical race theory and these people who want to bury the true history of this country, because they know that if they acknowledge their faults and they acknowledge their responsibility, then that opens the door for reparations. And that's the last thing that they want to do for us. Now, the Native Americans or indigenous people, they get reparations. The Asians who built the railroad that I spoke about earlier, they get reparations. But us, the ones who built this country, all of the inventions that we created, that the wealth of the white people have been made off of and continue to build off of, which gave them a leg up over everybody, off of the blood of our people and off of the mind and mentality of our people. And then they call us lazy and tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. We're the ones who pulled up y'all bootstraps. We're the ones who created y'all bootstraps. So, this is not an angry rant. And this is one thing that I don't want to be a black struggle channel. This is not what I want it to be. I want my channel to cover so many different um, subjects and topics, and I don't want to fall in the one-dimensional realm of being a black struggle channel. So I'm going to cover many different things from many different aspects and many different viewpoints, because I don't want to be a one-dimensional channel. But this is, by all rights and intents, quote unquote Black History Month. And so I definitely had to point this out, because this is something that came to my mind and it wouldn't just leave me alone. So I know I had to talk to the congregation about it, because if something bothers me to the point to where it won't leave me alone, then that means that my spirit is vexed. That means that it doesn't sit right in my spirit, and my spirit is trying to get me to address that. And so this is what I'm doing this morning. Yo, to all those who celebrate Black History Month, um, to each his own, I say again, but you really, really need to stop and pay attention to what this country is saying to us as a people, as far as our history and their true feelings about our history. That's really all that I have to say on that. I just wanted to say enough to provoke thought. I hope this provokes a thought and sparks another conversation, because it really needs to be addressed and discussed by more than just me. So this is your boy D Mac, man. Y'all know what I say. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.